There was a sound in Grandma's kitchen you probably haven't heard in 30 years. Not a microwave beep, not a timer on a phone. It was the sound of a cold pat of lard hitting a black iron skillet that had been sitting on that back burner since before you were born. That low, mean hiss that meant Sunday dinner had officially started. That skillet was never washed with soap. It never went in a dishwasher. It got wiped down, greased up, and set back on the stove, and it fed 4 generations without ever once being replaced. Today we're bringing back 12 meals that came out of that pan. Dishes that used to be on every Sunday table in America, and that almost nobody cooks anymore. Stay with me to the end, because number 1 is the one dish that, if you smelled it right now, would put you straight back in that kitchen with your feet dangling off a vinyl chair. Let's start at number 12. Wilted lettuce salad. Before salad meant a plastic clamshell of spring mix, it meant this. Grandma would send you out to the garden for leaf lettuce and green onions, and while you were gone, she was frying bacon in the iron skillet. The bacon came out, the grease stayed in. Then a splash of vinegar, a spoonful of sugar, and that whole sizzling mess got poured, smoking hot, straight over the lettuce in the bowl. It collapsed. It went silky and tangy and salty all at once, and everybody ate it fast, because wilted lettuce salad waits for no one. Nobody makes this anymore because we decided bacon grease was the enemy. Grandma lived to 91. Number 11. Fried squash and onions. Late summer, when the garden was giving up more yellow squash than any family could eat, this is where it went. Sliced thin, salted, dusted in cornmeal, never flour, cornmeal, and laid in a 1/4 inch of hot grease with a mountain of sweet onion. You didn't stir it. You let it sit until the edges went dark golden crisp, then flipped it once. It came to the table in the skillet itself, on a folded dish towel in the middle of the table, and it disappeared before the meat did. The trick was patience. Crowd the pan and you steam it. Grandma knew that without ever reading it anywhere. Number 10. Skillet fried apples. Not applesauce, not apple pie, fried apples. Tart apples, sliced thick with the peel left on, dropped into melted butter with brown sugar and a heavy hand of cinnamon. They cooked down slow until the sugar caught and turned into a dark, sticky glaze that coated every slice. Here's what people forget. This wasn't dessert. This went on the table right next to the ham and the beans, as a side dish. Sweet and savory sitting side by side on the same plate, and nobody thought twice about it. Half an hour of work and 1 skillet, and it's better than anything in a bakery case. Number 9. Salmon croquettes. Every pantry in America had a can of pink salmon in it, and every grandmother knew exactly what to do with it. Dump it in a bowl. Bones, skin and all, because that's where the calcium was. Mash it up with a beaten egg, some cracker crumbs or cornmeal, a little grated onion, and black pepper. Shape it into patties with your hands and fry them in the skillet until both sides were crusty and brown. Squeeze of lemon. Maybe a spoon of white sauce over the top. This was Friday supper for millions of families for 50 years. It cost about $1 to feed 6 people, and I would put it up against most restaurant fish today. Number 8. Creamed chipped beef on toast. Ask any veteran what SOS stands for and watch him grin. Thin, salty dried beef torn into pieces, folded into a butter and flour gravy, made right in the skillet, thinned with milk and finished with cracked black pepper. Then ladled, generously, over toast that was already going soft underneath it. It came home from the army with a whole generation of men, and it stayed. It was breakfast. It was supper. It was what you ate on the last day before payday. It has fallen completely off the map, and I'd argue it's one of the best things you can make in 10 minutes flat. Number 7. Cracklin' cornbread. Regular cornbread was a Tuesday. Cracklin' cornbread was a Sunday. The skillet went into the oven empty with a spoon of bacon drippings in it, and it stayed there until that grease was practically smoking. Then the batter, cornmeal, buttermilk, egg, and a fistful of cracklins, those crisp little pieces of rendered pork, went in all at once. That's the sound you were listening for. That violent hiss when batter hits hot iron is what gives you the crackly, almost fried crust around the outside. You cannot get that crust in a glass dish. You cannot get it in a metal pan. Only iron. Number 6. Liver and onions. I know. Stay with me. The reason you hate liver and onions is that somebody in your life cooked it wrong. Hard, gray, and tough as a boot. Grandma didn't. She soaked it in milk first to pull the bitterness out. She dredged it light in seasoned flour. And she cooked it fast in bacon fat, 3 minutes aside at most, so the middle stayed rosy and tender. Meanwhile, a pound of onions had been going low and slow in the same skillet until they were jammy and sweet. It was the cheapest, most nutrient-dense meal on the table, and it's now practically extinct. Number 5. Ham steak with red-eye gravy. This one is nearly a lost art. A thick slice of country ham went into the dry skillet and fried until the edges curled and the fat went translucent, leaving behind a pan full of dark brown drippings and stuck-on bits. Then, and this is the part people don't believe, Grandma poured a cup of black coffee straight into the hot pan. It hissed and steamed and lifted every bit of that flavor off the bottom. That thin, dark, salty bitter liquid is red-eye gravy. It's not thickened. It's not creamy. You spoon it over the ham, over grits, over a split biscuit, and it tastes like the American South in a single bite. Number 4. Poor man's steak with onion gravy. The name tells you everything about when this was invented. Ground beef mixed with cracker crumbs, egg and seasoning, pressed flat into a pan, chilled, then cut into squares the size of a steak. Each one got browned hard in the iron skillet, then buried in onion gravy made from the drippings and left to simmer until fork tender. It stretched 1 pound of beef into dinner for a whole family during years when that mattered enormously. It came out of hardship, and it turned into one of the most comforting things ever put on a plate. That's a very American story. Number 3. Pineapple upside-down cake. Butter and brown sugar melted right in the skillet. Pineapple rings arranged in a circle. A maraschino cherry dropped in the center of each one. Batter poured over the top and the whole thing shoved in the oven. 40 minutes later she'd pull it out, lay a plate over the top and flip it, with everybody watching, because there was always a chance it stuck. It never stuck. That caramel layer that forms against hot iron is something a cake pan simply cannot reproduce. This was the birthday cake, the church potluck cake, the company's coming cake for about 40 years. Number 2. Blackberry cobbler. Picked that morning, usually by you, usually with scratched up arms and purple fingers to prove it. Berries and sugar went into the buttered skillet. A loose batter got poured over the top, or dropped on in spoonfuls, depending on which grandmother you had, and families had strong opinions about this. Into the oven until the top went golden and the fruit bubbled up around the edges and burned onto the pan, which was always the best part. Served warm in a bowl with a scoop of vanilla ice cream melting into it. No plates, no forks, and nobody ever once measured anything. And number 1. Skillet fried chicken with milk gravy. Here it is. The Sunday dinner. The one you can still smell. Chicken soaked in buttermilk since Saturday night. Dredged in flour with salt, pepper, and whatever else she wasn't going to tell you about. Into a deep iron skillet with a ½ inch of hot lard, lid on for the first stretch, lid off at the end so the crust could set up shattering crisp. She fried it in batches and never once used a thermometer. She just knew by the sound. Then came the gravy. And this is the part almost nobody does anymore. She poured off most of the grease, left the browned crumbs stuck to the bottom, stirred in flour, then milk, and scraped until it came together thick and speckled with pepper. That gravy was made from the same pan, in the same 15 minutes, and it is the entire reason the mashed potatoes existed. 12 dishes, 1 pan, not a single one of them complicated. Here's the thing about that skillet. It didn't hold on to flavor because of some kitchen magic. It held on because it was used. Every Sunday, for decades, without fail. That's the ingredient we actually lost. So pick one. Just one. Make it this Sunday and see who comes to the table. Tell me in the comments which of these 12 your grandmother made, and which one I left off the list, because I know I left one off. If this brought something back for you, subscribe. We're bringing more of these home every week.